light dumbbell exercises. Of course, everybody knows that you can do bench presses, overhead pressing, and rows and all that good stuff. But we wanted to show you some finesse stuff that we have used with our swimmers and our overhead athletes to really, really give them the super shoulders that they need to keep them injury-free and performing at their best.
One of the great things about this DVD is we're going to show you how to do all these different exercises. We'll give you options for different modalities. Some of you might have bands, some of you might have the Flexi Bar, but those of you that have dumbbells, we're going to show you a program right here that you can do to ensure you have great shoulder stability. Right now, we're going to get into that. Multiple ranges of motion, connecting the body to the shoulder, all in one program.
You guys could just go if you want.
Good. Now, the first exercise, we call it the scarecrow, because we get into kind of this position. Notice, these are 5-pound dumbbells plus 2 pounds for the handle. These are 7-pound dumbbells. The key thing is don't let the elbow go above the shoulder, so we're going to keep a nice line straight, and then we're just going to externally rotate. While you're doing this, you got to make sure that your scapula is always in and down, retracted and depressed. And right from in here, this is external rotation, fantastic for shoulder stability. Now, you can go alternating pattern, and you just let the dumbbell drop you as low as possible, again, without elevating the shoulder very high, because you don't want to get into an impingement. And you can see that with 7 pounds, Griff is really working. So you have the simultaneous scarecrow and the alternating scarecrow as our first dumbbell exercise. How'd you like that?
I'll tell you what, for such a simple looking exercise, that absolutely gets the job done. I can feel it working all the rotator cuff, all the posterior muscles. Great for shoulder stability, and I think it really helps the posture out, something that all swimmers do need.
And you only need 7-pound dumbbells. That's all you need. Some people may be able to get the job done with 3 or 5 pounds. Just use the weight that you can control without any pain.
Don't be afraid to go less than 7 if you do need to.
Absolutely.
The next exercise we have is a slightly different variation from the scarecrow, but very, very good for opening up the chest, working the back musculature, and opening up the front musculature.
Right. We're going to assume a 45-degree angle with the humerus here. Now, for the people who this position here might give them a little impingement, maybe they've already got a little itis going on, this is a much more forgiving exercise, and all we're going to do is close in and open up. We call this the butterfly, and that's it. You get external rotation, but because the humerus is down, it's not as advanced or as intense as the other exercise. All right, again, we're working with a stabilized scapula, always retracted and depressed, external rotation and decelerating external rotation here on the way down. Of course, that's a simultaneous pattern, and we always have the alternating pattern, one at a time, and then Griff can just kind of start going in combination. One goes out as the other one is coming in. Okay.
As JC said, that is much less demanding. So, if the scarecrows do cause irritation or the shoulder is weak, we do recommend going with the butterflies first.
All right, our next exercise actually comes from Olympic weightlifting. And the Olympic weightlifters and some of our grapplers do this with a lot of weight. But for the shoulder rehab, we're not going to use a lot of weight. We're going to slow it down. This is called a muscle snatch. And imagine that you're starting a lawnmower. And Griff is just going to take it from the center position here, start the lawnmower, and just continue to go up. Okay? So it's kind of an upright row continuing into an external rotation. Boom. See? It's almost like that backstroke that we did with the band. There. There's 2 variations. There's one that goes back, which he's doing right now, and one that goes straight up. This is the beginning variation. Less range of motion, straight up. And then the one that goes back, now you can see he starts rotating, getting a lot more range of motion there. So you have 2 variations of the one-arm muscle snatch. Straight up for beginners, and now with a little backstroke reach for the more advanced training.
Why don't we show them the 2-arm variation for those that have better shoulder flexibility. Right. In other words, when we do the 1-arm variation, it allows for a little less flexibility in the movement because we get to rotate.
Right. When you're doing a 1-arm movement, you can do this. And once you do this, see, if I stand up straight, less range of motion. So always when you're doing overhead movements, the single arm version is always the easiest because you can give your body a little English and be a little bit more forgiving. Now, when you want to, you go double arm on overhead movements like he's going to do now, and this is much more advanced. He's doing the Y version here, okay? which is a lot easier. Now he can go straight up a lot harder. Okay? So the more you open, the less range of motion. The straighter you go up, the more range of motion. So you can attenuate this exercise and open up or come above depending on your range of motion and how much shoulder stability you have coming into the exercise.
Next we have the one-arm diagonal chop, one of our personal favorites here, because not only do we get the arm in the overhead position where the shoulder needs to be very stable and strong, but we do rotate through the core in the diagonal pattern, which is very important in swimming. In other words, we're connecting the shoulder to the opposite hip.
Perfect. We're going to show you two angles. We're going to show you the front angle so you can see the lever arm, how he holds the arm. And then we're going to go from behind and show you how his clothing stretches, indicating the pattern of force generation. So you can see that he takes it outside the knee, again, using his hips and paraspinals to drive that shoulder. That's what we talk about integration here. This is perfect. Not only is the posterior chain accelerating, the anterior portion of that shoulder is opening up and learning how to decelerate. So you really have dynamic external rotation here with the assistance of the rest of the body. Great. Now face me and let's give him a couple of reps. Now notice how his clothing stretches, and you'll see the connection right here from the left hip to the right shoulder. Fantastic. Great. That's what we call shoulder stability with a gliding scapula. And one of the main concepts of shoulder stability is using the large muscles to help the small muscles.
This is a prime example of the dynamic movement and exercise that we're trying to bring you